in the service of the Spirit. The material nature of a thing once put in the service of the Lord is changed into spirit. We can learn how to do this by taking the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. He is the perfect example of one who does not reject material things nor lord over it. Instead, he uses it in the service of Krishna. He is an expert in teaching us the alchemical ways of using everything in Krishna's service.
What does that mean, alchemical?
Alchemy.
What? No, well, but what does alchemical mean? That's an example. That's not.
It's a type of like chemistry study, right?
Yes, but what does it do? That's that.
They try to cure diseases.
Well, no, it cures the disease of death. Alchemical means you transform something material into something spiritual. Originally, it meant transforming mercury into gold. Mercury is very cheap and poisonous. Gold is very expensive and not poisonous, right? So they were looking for a way to transform ordinary metals into gold. Now, Prabhupada says it is possible to do that. He said yogis knew how to drink mercury and urinate gold. That's a pretty good trick, huh? Of course, if you drink mercury, what will happen? You'll die. So don't try and imitate the yogis. But the yogis, some of them, not all of them, knew how to do that. Because the body is a chemical factory also. So originally they were looking for ways to turn ordinary metals into gold, and they never really found it. But they discovered what's called several things. One was allopathic medicine, that is using poisons to try and heal diseases. Does that make sense? Using a poison to heal a disease? No, it doesn't make sense, right? And but that's the present medicine that's being used today. The practice of medicine. It's called allopathic. And another thing they found was chemistry, like you said. They found how to make inorganic chemicals, and they also found how to make some organic chemicals, which led them to believe that maybe they could solve life, because they were able to make a few organic chemicals in the laboratory, such as ammonia, which is actually an organic chemical. It has carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. That's why it's an organic chemical. Inorganic chemicals have, carbon, plutonium, or so they have other things besides just carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Let's put it like that. So the organic chemicals are chemicals that you see in nature naturally. And inorganic chemicals are they're not necessarily made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. They may have a little bit of those things, but they have a lot of other things. And they're not usually found naturally in nature. Or the derivatives of things that you find in nature by adding things to it. Okay. So very good. Shasta's homework was very well done. All of you did well.
Yeah, I did.
You didn't finish, huh?
Yeah, I have like one more paragraph.
Okay.
One who has realized that Krishna is the supreme proprietor, and uses everything in the service of Krishna, sees no sinful or binding reactions. By doing this, one not only eradicates The ill effects eradicates
gets rid
the
of.
what?
It means gets rid of.
Oh, gets rid of.
Yeah.
The ill effects caused by the material nature, but attains the biggest blessing of life, which is no desire for sense gratification and attaining the love for Krishna.
Very good. Very good. She wrote a very good thing. So she did the homework that was meant for last Sunday, and she did a great job.
I also did my homework.
Okay, let's hear.
So, the homework was to explain how to transform material matter into spirit.
Yes.
And the verses that will help us are 4.24 and 5.10.
Yes.
The absolute truth covered by Maya is called matter. Matter dovetailed for the cause of the absolute truth regains its spiritual quality. To transform matter into spirit, you need to use the matter for Krishna's service. Then the matter becomes spiritual in quality. You can use a marijuana plant for Krishna's service. Instead of using it in smoking, you can make nice clothes like dhotis for Krishna. If you don't do this, then in your next life, you will become a bug that eats marijuana plants.
Yeah, it's high.
You can use a burger in Krishna's service by offering it to Krishna and not putting meat in it. If you do not do this and eat the meat for sense gratification, then you will become a tiger in your next life.
Yes.
If the matter is not used in Krishna's service, then you will get vikarma. Hence, in the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, we should learn how to use matter in Krishna's service.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So today we're going to study the answer to the question that Tulsi brought up last week, and that is, how can you prove that God exists? Right? Because so many people don't believe in God nowadays. Just like she told the example of that 7-year-old girl that she met in her singing class in Sammamish, not here in the temple, but somewhere else. And the subject of God came up, and this girl, and Tulsi said that she believes in God, and then this girl said, "Oh, that God doesn't exist. If you believe in God, that means you don't know science." Right? And then Tulsi wasn't sure how to defeat her. Okay, so today we are going to discuss how to convince a person that God exists and that Krishna is God. Okay, now first of all, wow. Okay, so I discussed this in my book called, what's the name of this book? The Fourth Dimension. Okay? So if you have this book, it explains how to do it. But we're going to just study this quickly today. Okay. So, number 1, 10th canto, 10th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, verse number 8. Put number 1. 1. Put number 1. No, don't open it up. Put it right down in your book. Okay, how to prove God exists. Write that down. How to prove God exists. And put number 1. Huh? How to prove God exists. Okay, but you have to write how to prove God exists. Okay. So number 1, right, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse number 8. You need a notebook and a pen. You have one? Haribol Riya. We're answering the question, the homework, the topic today is how to prove God exists. Okay. Bhagavad Gita 10.8. Now look that up in your Bhagavad Gita. So someone said, I don't believe God exists. Okay, well, I can prove to you God exists. So we start with 10.8. All right, Agastya, what does it say?
I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts.
All right, read that again. Slowly, go ahead.
I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts.
Okay, so point number 1. Now we'll make this note. Point number 1. Write down definition of God. Right. You always have to begin with a definition. How do you define who God is? Definition of God. DEFINITION. So, God is the origin of everything material and spiritual. Okay? That's the definition of God. The origin of everything material and spiritual. Write that down? You got that, Augustia? God is the origin of everything material and spiritual. Okay. Point number 2. Let's read the purport. Yes. You want to read? Okay. Give her the microphone. Let her read. Give her the microphone. Yes.
A learned scholar who has studied the Vedas perfectly and has information from authorities like Lord Chaitanya and who knows how to apply these teachings can understand that Krishna is the origin of everything in both the material and spiritual world.
Okay, see, that's point number one. He's the origin of everything. That's the definition of God. Everything is coming from Krishna, material and spiritual. Go ahead.
And because he knows this perfectly, he becomes firmly fixed in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. He can never be deviated by any amount of nonsensical commentaries or by fools. All Vedic literature agrees that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods. In the Atharva Veda, Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.24, it is said, Yo Brahmanam vidati purvam yo vai vedam cha gapayati sma Krishna. It was Krishna who was in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. Then again in the Narayana Upanishad 1, it says, Ata Purusho Havai Narayano Kamayata Praja Shujati. Then the Supreme Personality Narayana desired to create living entities. The Upanishad continues, Narayana Brahma Jayate, Narayana Prajapati, Prajayate, Narayana Indra.
Okay, just, that's,
okay.
Just read the English.
From Narayana, Brahma is born, and from Narayana, the patriarchs are also born.
The
Pitris are born. From Narayana, Indra is born, and from Narayana, the 8 Vasus are born. From Narayana, the 11 Rudras are born, and from Narayana, the 12 Adityas are born. This Narayana is an expansion of Krishna.
So that means that everything is coming from Krishna. He's just giving you different examples. All right, so that's point one. All right, point two. Point two, we have to look at the second chapter. Second chapter. One second. Point two. Sorry. Okay, point two is second chapter, verse number 12. In the purport, second chapter, verse number 12. In the purport. Okay, Pranay, you have your notebook? What does that say? Second chapter, verse number 12, in the purport, there's a verse, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman tam atmastam ye dupasyanti diras tesam santi sasvati nitarasam. Kata Upanishad 2:13. So what does this verse say? Who wants to read it? Okay, Krishna, go ahead.
So the rest of the purport?
No, just read the translation of the verse. Oh, wait a minute. It doesn't give the translation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then let's look up 378. Sorry. Okay, so look up 7th chapter, 10th verse. You see the same verse there. Now read what it says.
The translation?
Yep. No, not the verse, but the Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam.
Oh.
It's in the purple.
He is the prime eternal among all eternals. He is the supreme living entity of all living entities, and he alone is maintaining all life.
Okay. So that's the point. This verse says Nityo Nityanam. We're not going to see the whole verse, just the main point. Main point is all the living entities, whether they're in the spiritual world or in the material world, are eternal. Krishna is also a living entity, but he's the supreme living entity, and he's different from all the other living entities because he's maintaining all the other entities. And we'll explain what that means. Okay, so he's the maintainer of all living entities. Number 2 point. All living entities are eternal in the spiritual world and material world. Krishna is a living entity and he's also eternal. But he's the supreme living entity who's maintaining all the others. Now I'm going to explain how he's doing that. All right, so now this is the second point. First point was he's the origin of everything material and spiritual. Second point is he's the supreme eternal entity who's maintaining all the other eternal entities. He's the supreme eternal entity who's maintaining all the other eternal entities. Point 2. Huh? He's the Supreme Lord who's maintaining all the eternal entities. So the translation, the full translation of this verse from the Katha Upanishad is, the Supreme Lord is the prime eternal among all eternal living entities. The living entities are cognizant, meaning they're conscious and they have knowledge. But the Supreme Lord is cognizant of all living entities and everything in existence. So there's a second difference between Krishna, and who's a living entity, and all other living entities. You and me, we only know our body, and we don't really know everything about it. But we're conscious that we have a body. So when you have an upset stomach, you have a cold, you have an earache, you have infection in the eye, you have a cut finger, you're conscious of your body, right? When somebody else has an earache, can you feel it?
No.
No. You're not conscious of other people's bodies. But Krishna is not only conscious of his own body, he's conscious of all bodies. How does he do that?
Because he is the maintainer of all entities and he is the supreme living entity.
No, because he's Paramatma, present in the heart of every living entity. So he knows what's going on in everybody's body. You only know what's going on in your body. Okay? So he is not, he's cognizant. Let's spell this word out. C-O-G-N-I-Z-A-N-T. C-O-G. Cognizant. C-O-G-N-I. Wait a minute. C-O-G-N-I-Z-A-N-T. Cognizant means he knows, someone who knows. Cognizant means you're conscious of or you know. Okay? So, first point is he's the origin of everything material and spiritual. Second point is he's the supreme eternal amongst all eternal beings. Everybody's eternal, right? You're eternal, I'm eternal, everyone's an eternal being. But he's maintaining all others. And number 3, he knows what's happening in everybody else's body, where you only know what's happening in your body. You can't say you don't know what's happening in Arusha's body right now, do you? No. And Arusha, you know what's happening in Krishna's body? No. But Krishna knows what's happening in Krishna's body and in your body, in all bodies, because he's Paramatma. That's number 3. Number 4. Oh, we said he's maintaining everyone already, right? That was number 2. And, right? And number 3 is he is cognizant of all living entities and everything in existence, because he's present in every atom also. He's as Paramatma. So as Paramatma, he's cognizant, C-O-G-N-I-Z-A-N-T, meaning he has knowledge of all living entities and everything in existence. Okay? Number 4. 4.
Didn't we just do 4?
What, you read what the 4 points are.
Okay, so the first one is Bhagavad Gita 10.8, definition of God. God is the source of everything material and spiritual.
Yes.
The second one is the 2.12 purport. He is the prime eternal among the eternals. He is the supreme living entity among all living entities. He is the maintainer of all living entities. And then 3 was he knows what's happening in all bodies because he is Paramatma. And 4 was he is cognizant of all living entities and everything in existence.
3 and 4 are the same.
So for 3 points.
Huh? Yeah. 3 and 4 are the same. So erase 4. Don't erase what you wrote, but erase the number 4. Yeah. Because what you wrote, 3 and 4, they're both the same thing. Okay, now, number 4. Number 4 is 7th chapter. Twelfth verse. Seventh chapter, 12th verse. Who wants to read that verse? Okay, let's see, who didn't read so far? Okay, go ahead.
7.12.
7.12, yes.
With the translation?
Yes.
Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the mode of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me.
So this verse says, basically, that Krishna is not controlled by any of the modes of material nature. Are you controlled by some mode of material nature, Krishna? Which one? Well, I'm there also, so, you know. Yeah, all of us are controlled by one or a combination of modes of material nature. Yes. Sometimes we get angry, sometimes we do things that are, not intelligent. Sometimes we are an illusion, right? These are all symptoms of someone who's influenced by the modes of material nature. We forget easily. That's another symptom of being controlled by the modes. We forget. All right? But Krishna is never, although he's the creator of the modes, he's never under the influence of the modes. He's transcendental always. That's number 4. Did you write that down? Okay, Krishna is not influenced by the modes of material nature. He's transcendental to them. But all living entities in the material world are influenced by the modes. See, now we're trying to understand who is God, right? How can you prove God exists? Well, we're explaining some specific qualities of Krishna that differentiate him from all other living entities. Not only is he in, yes, 4 is that Krishna is not influenced, is not under the influence of the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Okay. And part of the number 4 is that Krishna is not affected by work that he does. Not affected by work. And is not attached. Huh? That's part of 4. Affected. A-F-F-E. It's A, not E-F-F. It's A-F-F-E-C-T. E-D. Not affected by any work that he does. And he is not attached to the fruits of action. Huh? Not attached to the fruits of action.
So in short, he doesn't get bound by karma.
Yes. Okay, next one's a little complicated, and we're going to read it. 5th chapter, verse number. One second, let me just make sure. No, it's not 5th chapter. One second. Okay. Okay, 4th chapter, verse number 14. 4th chapter, verse number 14.
Prabhuji, is it 4.14?
Huh?
Is it 4.14?
Yes. 4.14 says, who wants to read 4.14? Ria, go ahead. Go ahead, Ria.
There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work.
Okay, now, so that verse is the same as 7, the last verse we just read. It means that Krishna is not affected by any work, right? What was the last verse we studied? 7.12. Let me just see.
He's not affected by any work that he does.
Yeah, well, this verse also says the same thing.
So I can write that in 5.2.
Yeah. In 4. That's part of 4. 4.14. Oh, wait a minute. Which one? What was your point 4? What was your point 4? Okay, do we have a point 5? Huh? Okay, so point 5 then is there's no work that affects Krishna. Did we say that?
Yeah, we said that in 4.
In 4, okay. So, no. Say that should be point 5. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That should be point 5. And the proof for that is 4.14. Okay?
Both points is purely that Krishna is not influenced by the modes of material.
Yes. Yeah.
And the point is that he's not attached to the fruit.
Yeah, he's not affected by any work that he does, and along with that, he's not attached to the fruits of action. So number 1 is 10.8. Number 2 is
2.12.
2.12.
3 is 7.11.
3 is
7.11.
7.11. Yeah, 7.11 says, no, it's not 7.11, 7.12.
I thought 4. Yeah, 4 is 7.12.
And what is number 3?
7.11.
No, it's not 7. Huh?
So, as to give that's the shloka where he says that Upadrishta, because it's also the Paramatma in everyone's heart.
Is that number 3? What? No, what did you write down for number 3? Krishna.
I found that Krishna is always cognizant about everything. He knows exactly how you feel because he is Paramatma.
I wrote he knows
Okay.
what's happening in everyone's body because he's Paramatma.
What?
I wrote he knows what is happening in
Everybody's body. That means he's cognizant.
because he is Paramatma.
Yeah. Okay, so that was part of Nityo Nityanam.
Yeah.
But, as Prabhu said, it's also the Upadasthana Mantracha, Bharta Bhakta Maheshwara. It's 13th chapter, 22nd or 23rd verse. Let me see. Yeah. 13:23.
13.23.
Yes.
That's what number 3 is?
Yeah, and it says, yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and the permitter, and is known as super soul. and he is, so he's super soul, and thus he's cognizant of all bodies and everything. Okay? Okay, so then 7, and then number 4 is 7:12, that he is transcendental, to all the modes of material nature, and therefore he is independent. He's completely independent. Okay, so Ria, can you tell me now the 4 points? Huh? Or what's point 5? Oh yeah, 4.14, yeah. 4.14 says that no work affects Krishna. And that he's not attached to the fruits of work. Nor is he ever entangled by reactions of work.
By reactions of work?
Yeah. Okay, so now we have 5 points. So who wants to summarize those 5 points? Who wants to summarize? Okay, Augusta, you summarize them. Go ahead.
So, Krishna...
Mike.
Krishna is the source of everything, material and spiritual. He is the prime eternal among eternals. He is the supreme...
Okay, no, say 1, 2, 3, 4.
1. Krishna is the source of everything material and spiritual. 2. Krishna is the prime eternal among eternals and the supreme living entity among all living entities. He is the maintainer
Go ahead.
of all living entities.
Okay.
3. He knows what's happening in all bodies because he is Paramatma, and he is cognizant of all living entities and everything in existence.
Yes.
And 4. Although he is the creator of the modes of material nature, he is not influenced by them. All other living entities are influenced by the 3 modes of material nature. 5. Krishna is not affected by the work he does, and he is not attached to the fruits of action.
Good. Okay, number 6. Did everyone have those 5 points? Yes. Good. Number 6. Okay, let's see here. Okay. All right, number 6. Krishna has mutually, M-U-T-U-A-L-L-Y. Number 6 is mutually, M-U-T-U-A-L-L-Y. T-U-A-L-L-Y. Mutually contradictory. C-O-N-T-R-A. Contradictory. D-I-C-T-I-N-G. C-O-N-T-R-A. D-I-C-T-O-R-Y. Has mutually contradictory qualities. Yeah, has. Mutually contradictory qualities. That means that he is far away, but also very near. He has no material legs, but yet he can run faster than anyone. Yes. He is far away, but he is very near also. Qualities. Very near also at the same time. He is one, but he can expand himself infinitely. Right. And another point is that he is one, but he can expand himself infinitely into many. Jai Shishi Gornitai. Hey, Haribo, Haribo. Yeah, those are just a few things. There are many more things like that, but we're not going to write them all right now. Yeah. So this is called mutually. Mutually means at the same time. At the same time, he's far away, he's very near. He has no legs, but he can run faster. He he's one, but he can expand into many. Yeah. He's the most renounced, and he's the supreme enjoyer. Yeah, that's another one. So there's infinite ones. See, no one else can claim to have mutually contradictory, unless it's sometimes they act nice and sometimes they act really bad. But it's not mutually. It's not at the same time. You see, the word mutually is important. It means at the same time. Yes. Is that like what? After the what? Yeah, he's the most renounced, but yet he's the supreme enjoyer. Yes, he's the supreme enjoyer.
Is that point 6?
No. It's part of point 6. These are mutually contradictory qualities. See, you can't be mutually. That means at the same time you can't be the most renounced and the supreme enjoyer. But Krishna can be. You can't be at the same time far away but very near. But Krishna can be. You can't be one but many. Krishna can be. You see.
There are some references that we can quote from these things?
Yeah. I'm going to get to that now. Okay, you want some reference? All right, 1 second. I'll give you some right away. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm going to give you the verse now. 1 second. Okay, so 13th chapter, 14th verse. Now, these are verses that explain his mutually contradictory. 13.14. So this verse says, everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the Supersoul exists, pervading everything. 13.14. So although Krishna is in Goloka Vrindavan, but yet everywhere are his hands, legs, eyes, heads, faces, and ears. In this way, he's pervading everything. But still, he's in Vrindavan with the gopis and the gopas. Then the next verse, 14:15. No, this is all examples of mutually contradictory qualities. It says, the Supersoul is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. Now we're reading 13.15. He is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. Does that make sense to you, Ria? No. Okay, I'm going to explain it. He is without senses, right? He's the original source of the senses, yet he is without senses. That means that he's the source of all material senses that people have in this world, like your senses, your eyes, your ears, your nose. He's the source of it. But he has no material senses. He has spiritual senses. Although he created all the material senses, he has only spiritual senses. He doesn't have material senses. So he has no legs like you and me, made of muscles and tendons and bones and things. But yet he can run faster because he has spiritual legs. They're made of Sat Chitananda Vigraha, eternity, bliss, and knowledge. You see? So whenever it says he has no this or that, it means what he has is not made of matter. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, and so forth. What he has is made of Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Okay? Here's another one. Apanipado Javano Grahita. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no hands which are materially contaminated, but he has hands and accepts whatever sacrifice is offered to him. That is the distinction between the conditioned soul and the supersoul. He has no material eyes, but yet he has eyes. Otherwise, how could he see? He sees everything, past, present, and future. He lives within the heart of the living entity, and he knows what we have done in the past, what we are doing now, and what is awaiting us in the future. So nobody, does anyone else know, Agastya, what you're going to do in the future? No. Krishna does. So, he has no legs, but he can travel throughout space because he has spiritual legs. Okay, so that's a few examples, some verses that give you an example of point 6. Now, point 7. Oh, okay. So, wait a minute. 13, 14, 15, right? 16 and 17. Also, verses 16 and 17 are for point 6.
Oh, wow. 13.14 to 13.17.
Yes.
13.16 and 13.17.
Also, it says here, the Supreme Truth exists outside and inside of all living beings. Do you, Rhea, are you outside and inside all living beings? No. So, say. Are you listening, Pranay?
Yeah.
What did I just say?
You said, are we inside of persons? Are we inside of outside and inside of person?
I didn't say that. I asked Rhea if she was.
No, she said no.
She said no. Yeah. But who is?
Krishna.
Yes. Because he is subtle, he is beyond the power of the material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all. Although the Supersoul appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all. So, these are all mutually contradictory qualities of the Lord. Okay, next.
Maybe we should add that as simultaneous and mutually conscious. It's not just mutual, it's also simultaneous.
Oh, he's simultaneously one and different, right? But no, that's another point. And we come to that. Okay, next, number 7. number 7. Okay, Krishna possesses all opulences. You know what they are? The 6. Power, wealth, power, and renunciation. Yes. Beauty, fame, power, knowledge, wealth, and renunciation. Huh? This is 7.
6 opulences.
Oh yeah, 6 opulences. I'm sorry. Beauty, fame, knowledge, wealth, power. Okay, and 1 second. Okay, so if we look at Bhagavad Gita, one second. Okay, let's look at 10th chapter, verse 1 second. Okay, so to get this, actually, we need to go to Srimad Bhagavatam, and you look Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 13, verse 52. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 13th chapter, verse 52. 10, 13, 52. This is point 7. $52. So it says SAD, SAD, dash, SAD, SAD, Aishwarya, AIS, yeah, SAD, dash, Aishwarya, AIS, VARYA, RYA, SAD, SAD, dash, Aishwarya, AISVARYA, and then last word, dash again, Purnam, PURNAM. That means Krishna is full in 6 opulences. And what are they? Okay, riches, fame, power, knowledge, beauty, renunciation. Okay? Huh? That's point 7. He has 6 opulences in full. Let me see if I can find that original verse. Huh?
Also referred in the 7.1.
7.1?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at that. Seven dot one. Where do you see that?
He talks about you cannot question the statement.
Can you oh, it doesn't name the opulences though. Do you see something there? So it's specifically said in the Adi Lila, chapter 1, verse number 3. Yeah, Adi Lila, chapter 1, verse 3. It says, what the Upanishads describe as the impersonal Brahman is but the effulgence of his body, and the Lord knows as the supersoul is but his localized, and the Lord known as the supersoul is his localized plenary portion. Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with 6 opulences. He's the absolute truth, and no other truth is greater than or equal to him. So that's Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, first chapter, verse number 3, where it says, Said Aishwarya Purno. But there, it's somewhere else also.
It's in 10.1, sorry.
10.1. Okay, let's take a look at that.
It's in the first verse.
He displayed all 6 opulences. Yeah, but doesn't explain what they are.
In the purport it explains it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, 10.1. Okay, so then he also has all the yoga perfections. This is number 8. He possesses all yoga siddhis, siddhis. He has all the yoga siddhis. And we're going to explain what they are. These are all explanations of the qualities of Krishna that differentiate him from everybody else. Right. So, if you want to prove that God exists, first you have to explain what the qualities of God are. So these are all the qualities of God that differentiates him from all other living beings, whether they're demigods or whatever. So, and this is in Bhagavad Gita also. Yeah.
Oh, I had one of them is, so what if they don't believe in like Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas?
It's not a question of believing it. You're explaining, see, most people don't know what it means to be God. Right?
Yes.
So first of all, we're explaining what it means to be God. And then we're going to give tomorrow I'll give you a a proof that God exists without referring to Shastra. Okay, but today we're learning what it means, God. Right? Nobody knows what it means. They have some idea, but we're being very precise here. This is scientific. When you explain the qualities of something, then now you know what you're talking about. Most people don't know what they're talking about when they say God.
And my second one, sort of off topic, but does every kill in a video game, like if you kill someone in a video game, does it count as a kill in real life?
What happens is that you become desensitized to it, which means that you will go out and kill someone eventually. Because you're desensitized. You don't think there's anything wrong with it because you got used to doing it all the time. And this is what happens. I mean, there are scientific studies that show that kids who are playing these violent games develop violent nature. Yes.
We recently had an assembly in our school about how uses of social media can affect the teens. And so a lady, I think she's from the FBI, so she came to our school and she talked about how people use the term "go kill yourself" so much that they've abbreviated it to like KYS. So it's being used too often, and because of that, teens are actually committing suicide because other people tell them that.
Yes. Exactly right. Exactly. You get desensitized to it. You start thinking it's normal. Desensitized means you think it's normal, where it's not normal at all. Yes, Pranay.
So if does it matter how much time you play the game that it affects you?
Yes.
So if you played it for 10 minutes, would it affect you more, or would you like still be like?
Do you know anyone that's only played video games for 10 minutes in their whole life?
No, I mean like every week, every 2 days they play 10 minutes each. 10 minutes each day.
They or you?
I don't play that much.
Every hour, 10 minutes, you mean?
No, I mean like, so if you have a week, right, and then like my friends, if they were to play a game, they would they have like a timetable. So every week they can play 2 days, and in those 2 days, it's 30 minutes each. So would they still be desensitized if they played those games?
Well, it's like this. You can take poison at once, like a cup of it at once. Or you can take a little bit of it every 2 days. Will it act the same over time? Yeah. So whether you do a little bit over every 2 days or you did a whole lot in 1 day, it's going to act on you. Right? Now, that's why Krishna says you should think of him always. Then you can come back to Godhead easily. So anything that takes your mind away from Krishna is called Maya. So if you're in Maya for, let's say, a half an hour every 2 days, that means that you took your mind away from Krishna. But actually we're in Maya much more than half an hour because video games is one way to take your mind away from Krishna. But there are many other ways also. How about watching television? How about what? You only watch Little Krishna on television? You watch everything?
No, if I were to watch, I would watch maybe once a week because I have a lot of homework.
Okay. All right, so you see, there's taking poison a little bit at a time, or there's taking poison a lot at once. It's still poison. Yes, okay. Jai Shri Radha Nilamadhava Ki Jai. Yes, did you say you wanted to say something, Prabhu? Did you raise your hand? No. Yes, Arush. What? Yeah, go ahead.
Question number 1. Explain how tribulation of devotee is different than tribulation of non-devotee.
We didn't understand one word you said. So you have to read much slower and pronounce every word clearly.
Question number 1. Explain how tribulation of devotee is different than tribulation of non-devotee.
Okay.
Tribulation of devotee is not a trouble. Instead, it is mercy of the Lord on the devotee.
Good.
Tribulation of devotee is for their own purification. There are many examples in scriptures like Nalgavara, Manigriva, Indra, Gajendra, Brahma, Parshik Maharaj, and Pandavas. Tribulation of non-devotee is due to their vicious actions. Material people are enjoying the property of Krishna for their own sense gratification. For example, this body belongs to Krishna, but they're using it for their own sense gratification. This is the reason non-devotees get tribulation. Question number 2. Why does Krishna give tribulation to his devotee? Krishna is purifying his devotee in trouble to magnify their service. The gopis, Prahlad Maharaj, Arjuna, Krishna also put his devotee into difficulty so the devotee becomes more purified.
Very good.
Question number 3. How does devotee react to the problem? And what should materialists do to understand from problem? Answer. When suffering is coming to devotee, then they get double down in devotional service. It means they increase their chanting, hearing, and their devotional service, etc. A non-devotee should think that Krishna is giving some message. To understand this message, non-devotees should go to meet a devotee and learn about Krishna.
Perfect. Very good. So always keep that in your notebook so you can refer to it, right? Very good. Okay, so now we'll just finish by listing the yoga cities. And one thing about this is demons also can develop some of the yoga cities, but never as completely as Krishna. Okay, this is an important point. There are demons that develop yoga cities also. It's like Ravana, he had yoga cities, but not as completely as Krishna. Yes, Krishna.
What are yoga cities?
Yoga perfections. We're going to explain them right now. Number 1 is anima. Write this down. Anima. And this is 10th canto, chapter 7, verse 26. Srimad Bhagavatam 10, canto, 7th chapter, verse 26. First one is anima, A-N-I-M-A. Anima siddhi. Siddhi means a perfection. Okay. So anima siddhi means that you become smaller than the smallest.
In this context, how would you spell city?
S-I-D-D-H-I. H-I. Siddhi means a perfection. Okay, number 2 is Lagima. L-A-G-H-I-M-A. You become heavier. Heavier than the heaviest. Lagima, L-A-G-H-I-M-A, heavier than the heaviest. Just like when Pralambasura kidnapped, when the Trinavata kidnapped Krishna. Trinavata was a tornado. So he whirled Krishna all the way up, very high, maybe a mile into the air, and then he was going to drop him, right? What did Krishna do? Yes. He became really heavy, and then forced Trinavata to fall on the ground and killed him. So he became heavier than the heaviest, right? Pralambasura, he punched Pralambasura. Balaram punched Pralambasura, killed him. But Trinavata, he became heavier than the heaviest. And Prabhupada says here is a competition in yogic power between Krishna and Trinavatasura. By practicing mystic yoga, asuras generally attain some perfection in the 8 siddhis, or the 8 perfections of yoga, namely anima, lagima, and so forth. But although a demon may acquire such powers to a very limited extent, he cannot compete with the mystic power of Krishna, for Krishna is Yogeshwara, the source of all mystic power. Yatra Yogeshwaro Hari. No one can compete with Krishna. Sometimes, having acquired a fragmental portion of Krishna's mystic power, asuras demonstrate their power to the foolish public and assert themselves to be God, not knowing that God is the supreme Yogeshwara. Here also we see that Trinavata assumed the Mahima Siddhi and took Krishna away as if Krishna were an ordinary child. But Krishna also became a mystic Mahima Siddha. When Mother Yasoda was carrying him, he became so heavy that his mother, who was usually accustomed to carrying him, could not bear him and had to place him down on the ground. Thus Trinavata had been able to take Krishna away in the presence of Mother Yasoda, but when Krishna, high in the sky, assumed the Mahima Siddhi, the demon, unable to go further, was obliged to stop his force and come down according to Krishna's desire. One should not, therefore, compete with Krishna's mystic power. Okay, number 3 is called Mahima. Mahima, M-A-H-I-M-A. That means bigger than the biggest. So when Aghasura swallowed, when the cowherd boys walked into the body of Aghasura, he had this gigantic snake and a big mouth, and they thought it was a cave. They walked in, and then Krishna walked in, and then Aghasura said, now I got Krishna. So he tried to close his mouth on Krishna and kill him, and Krishna expanded himself so big that it burst Aghasura's mouth and he died. So he became bigger than the biggest. So he's smaller than the smallest. That means he enters into the heart of the jiva. Jiva is smaller than an atom. And Krishna enters into the heart of the jiva. So he's smaller than the smallest. At the same time, he's heavier than the heaviest, and he's bigger than the biggest. Okay? Number 4. When Hanuman flew into the mouth of that demon that was guarding Lanka, I forget the name, Lankini, and then what did he do? Lankini thought, now I have got him. Then he became, but to do that, first he became very big, and she opened up her mouth really big, and he went in and she thought, now I got him. And then he became really small and came out again. So even Hanuman had some of those mystic powers, but not to the degree of Krishna. Okay, now number 4, prapti. Prapti. Okay, I don't want to mix them up, so we'll just write the names, and I'll give you tomorrow I'll tell you what they mean. Number 5, prakamya, Prakamya. So 4 is prapti, Prapti. 5 is prakamya, Prakamya. 6 is isitva, Isitva. 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 And 7 is vasitva, Vasita. Vasitva. I'm sorry. Vasitva. And number 8 is kama vasaitva. Kama vasaitva. Kama Vasaita. Kama vasaita. Huh? Kama Vasaita. Kama vasaita. So these are the 8 yoga siddhis. So I'll explain what they are more tomorrow. Huh? Yes. Homework is explain what mutually contradictory qualities are and give examples. Mutually contradictory qualities. So you have, to answer that, you look at chapter 13, verses 14 to 17. Okay? Qualities. Mutually contradictory qualities. Mutually means at like the same time.
Which verse?
Chapter 13, verses 14 to, 17. Okay. You're going to double down on your homework. What? Okay, I didn't hear you.
From the Hanuman reference, where he becomes big and small.
Yeah.
So that demon's name was Sursa.
What's the name? Suresha or Sursa? Suras. Surasa? Surasa. Okay.
So she came, like she stopped Hanumanji in the middle of the ocean itself.
Yeah. Yes.
Lankini was the guard at.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Good. So now you're learning about the qualities of Krishna, and we'll continue this tomorrow, and then I'm going to explain how to prove God exists without referring to Shastra. If If you learn this, and people are gonna say, "Where did you learn that? I never heard that before in my Bible class."